Have you ever felt like you're missing out on some secret workshop tools? Well, you're not alone. I've been woodworking since 1999, and I've only recently discovered some of these game changers. They're not fancy, most are not expensive, but boy, do they make a difference. This isn't going to be the traditional my top 5 tools in the shop video. I'm going to show you 5 tools, plus an extra tool, that will make you wonder how you ever lived without them. And trust me, the last one might ruffle some feathers in the woodworking community. So stick around, because it just might change the way you approach your woodworking projects forever.
Okay, let's talk about the L fence. Now I know what you're thinking. Joe, I already have a fence on my table saw. Why on earth would I need another one? Well, hear me out, because this little addition might just become your new best friend in the workshop. Here's the deal. The L fence attaches to your regular fence, creating a raised edge that's perpendicular to the table. It's simple, but effective, and it sets you up with a whole lot of future options. The L fence is a game changer when it comes to making 10-inch shoulder cuts. You know how nerve-wracking it can be when you're making those cuts, wondering if the off-cut is going to get stuck and cause all sorts of chaos? Well, with the L fence, those worries are a thing of the past. The offcuts just fall away safely and don't get pinched between the piece of wood and the fence. Now let's talk about something we all been through. Making rabbets on the table saw. You know the drill. Set up a sacrificial strip, make your cuts, and watch the strip get destroyed over time. It's like watching your favorite tool die a slow, painful death. But here's where the L fence swoops in to save the day. With this bad boy, you can make the same rabbets without damaging your main fence or needing a sacrificial piece. It's like magic, but better because it's actually real. The L fence is a perfect straight line pattern flush cutting machine. Let's say I need to make a bunch of octagons. I stick on my template, and then making as many octagons as I want is easy peasy lemon squeezy. Alrighty, here's the last thing the L fence can do well. Mill rough lumber. How, you might ask? Well, my friends, prepare to have your minds blown. With the L fence, you can establish a straight reference edge on rough lumber in one go. One single step. No more bouncing between your bandsaw and joiner like a ping pong ball. It's a time saver and a game changer all rolled into one. Remember how we always fumble with tape measures and rulers trying to get the perfect cut? It's like playing a game of who's got the steadiest hands every time we set up our saws. But what if I told you there's a way to ditch the tape measure and ruler and still get spot on cuts every time? Enter MDF setup blocks. They're the unsung heroes of the workshop. These little guys are about to become your new best friends. So, what exactly are these magical blocks? Well, they're exactly what they sound. Blocks of MDF cut to specific size. In my shop, I've got a whole range of them, starting from 3 inches all the way to 23¼ inches wide. Here's where it really gets cool. With these blocks, setting up your fence or stop block for your miter saw becomes a breeze. No more squinting at the tiny markings of the ruler or hoping your tape measure hasn't stretched. You just grab the block or combination of blocks you need, set it against your blade and fence or stop block, lock it down, and boom, you're ready to cut.
But wait, there's more.
One of the best things about the MDF setup blocks is you can make them yourself. Just grab some scrap MDF, cut the sizes you use most often, and you're good to go. Now, I'm not saying these blocks will make you a master woodworker overnight, but they will definitely up your game when it comes to accuracy and efficiency. And let's be honest, who doesn't want to spend less time measuring and more time building cool stuff? Have you ever noticed the moment you need a push stick at your table saw, it somehow teleports to another dimension? It's that classic woodshop dance, cutting a board with one hand and awkwardly reaching for a push stick that isn't there. Your table saw fence is prime real estate to solve this problem, and that would be with a fence caddy. This is my fence caddy. It has several compartments for the table saw tools I use most often. If you would like to know more on how I designed it, I'll put a link in the description below to a dedicated video I made about its construction. The fence caddy, once it's attached, transforms your regular table saw fence into a command central for all your cutting operations. I had resisted adding one for years because I thought it would just get in the way, but boy was I wrong. The beauty of a well-designed fence caddy is that it moves with your fence. Unlike stationary tool holders that force you to walk back and forth, this caddy stays right where you need it, regardless of whether you're ripping a 2-inch strip or a 24-inch panel. So, what should you keep in your caddy? Start with the essentials, a couple of push sticks in different sizes, a tape measure, pencils, and maybe a combination square. But don't stop there. I found that adding a small compartment for an angle finder is incredibly handy when setting up miter cuts. Some woodworkers even incorporate slots for feather bores to keep them close by during those precision ripping operations. Building your own fence caddy gives you the freedom to customize every aspect. Think about your cutting processes. Which tools do you reach for most often? What slows you down? designed around solving those specific problems. The efficiency boost is remarkable. Woodworking experts estimate we spend up to 20% of our shop time just hunting for tools. A fence caddy eliminates a huge chunk of that wasted effort. Plus, there's something satisfying in having everything organized and accessible that makes the whole woodworking experience much more enjoyable.
What if I told you something smaller than a dime could solve most of the annoying problems in your workshop? I'm talking about rare earth magnets. These tiny powerhouses might look unassuming, but their strength and versatility are nothing short of magic in a woodworking setup. Yet they're often overlooked because at first glance, they don't seem like they belong in a shop full of power tools and heavy lumber. But trust me, they do. Rare earth magnets, also called neodymium magnets, I will never be able to correctly pronounce that in 100 years, are leaps and bounds stronger than anything you'd stick to your fridge. In fact, even tiny ones can hold several pounds with ease. A small magnet just 10 millimeters wide and 5 millimeters thick can generate about 7.6 pounds of pulling force. That's enough to hold objects firmly in place or even pull through nearly an inch of wood without direct contact. But their size is not the only thing that makes them handy. It's how you can embed, attach, and incorporate them seamlessly into every corner of your shop.
Let's start with one of my least favorite tasks in the shop, dealing with the dust collector bag. You know how frustrating it can be to hold up the bag while trying to wrestle the clamp into place? Here's where those magnets shine. I use them to hold up that unwieldy bag while I secure the clamp. It keeps everything in position and my hands are free to concentrate on getting the job done instead of wrestling with a floppy bag that seems to have a mind of its own. Another brilliant use is pairing them with a jointer. I've attached 2 magnets to the jointer body and it holds the machinist square right where I need it. Instead of digging around in drawers or heading to another workbench, it's always within arm's reach. This simple addition has saved me so much time when resetting or checking my fence for a perfectly square cut. Let's get creative for a moment. Recently, I installed Eric Curtis's plane stop into my woodworking bench. The filler piece and the filler grabber have magnets embedded in them. It speeds up the process of removing the filler piece from the workbench. Those small magnets do the heavy lifting, letting me snap the filler place in and out without trying to pop it out manually. And for the bonus points, I find it's also fun to play with. I don't know about you, but I am haunted by a case of the fumble fingers. And magnets continually surprise me on their ability to save the day when I inevitably drop hardware into the worst possible place. If you've ever fumbled with a table saw arbor or washer and watched it disappear into the abyss beneath your saw, you know the struggle. To solve this problem, I've taken a long threaded rod, superglued a couple of magnets to the end of it, and now I've got myself a quick and easy retrieval tool. No more crawling under the machines or wasting time guessing where that tiny piece ended up. The beauty of magnets goes further than just convenience. They're fantastic problem solvers by nature. With a bit of CA glue or epoxy, you can embed them into wood and create invisible, seamless solutions. For example, they can work as hidden catches for cabinet doors or drawer fronts. Drill a simple hole, insert the magnet, and you've got a clean, hardware-free aesthetic. Each of these examples might feel small on its own, but when you stack them up, magnets saving time, keeping tools in reach, holding things exactly where they need to be, it becomes clear how these little powerhouses punch above their weight. If you've been looking for ways to cut down on the small annoyances in your shop, magnets might be one of those tools you didn't realize you were missing. They just have a way of finding solutions to problems you didn't even realize you had. Drilling a pilot hole and having to switch bits or tools just to countersink and drive the screw, it's one of those things we've all done, but let's be honest, it's a little tedious. A lot of the time, drilling the pilot hole and countersinking it, then driving the screw takes 2 steps that traditionally require 2 drills or a combination bit that makes you stop and flip the head from drilling to driving. This next tool condenses them into one smooth, efficient motion. The Zack Rabbit system combines a drill and a countersink with a driver into a single versatile tool. I first came across this tool way back when Norm Abram built the garage workshop on the New Yankee Workshop. Back then, it was called the Jack Rabbit Combo Drill and Drive System, but Zach Griffin, who you might know from Tiny House Nation, innovated the original design to the one that is pictured here. The system uses a quick release mechanism that allows you to switch between drilling the pilot hole and countersink to driving screws in about a second. You start by drilling a pilot hole and then make the countersink for the screw head. Finally, you remove the drill and countersink in one smooth motion and drive the screw into place. No swapping drills, no fumbling with bit changes. Just easy peasy lemon squeezy. For me, one of the standout features is how it's designed with impact drivers in mind. Unlike some countersink systems that aren't built to handle the unique torque or quick release features of impact drivers, this one fully embraces them. Quick changes feel fluid, and the bits lock in with a satisfying click. There's one takeaway here, it's this. By cutting out the clunky tool changes and streamlining the entire process into one system, it lets you focus on getting the job done, and done well. Whether you're assembling boxes, hanging ledger boards, or installing hardware, this tool can transform the way you approach screws and joinery. Once you've tried it, you'll wonder how you ever put up with switching between tools in the first place, and that's why it's earned a permanent space in my tool apron.
So for our last tool, our bonus tool, we actually have to leave the shop because there's just too much dust for this tool to take. So we're going to go ahead into where I do my editing in my office, and I'll show you the last tool on our list.
The last tool I want to talk about is this, a 3D printer. Now I know what you're thinking, why is he talking about a 3D printer in a woodworking shop? But stick with me here, because this machine opens up possibilities you would not believe. It can help solve unique problems, save time, and add some serious custom flair to your projects without breaking the bank. 3D printers have come a long way. They're more affordable and, more importantly, easier to use.
Here's the 3D printer in action. It's doing a prototype of a plane stop that I'm developing in conjunction with Eric Curtis.
One of the biggest benefits of a 3D printer is the sheer number of free designs available online that cater specifically to woodwork. Need a replacement knob for your drill press? There's a file for that. Looking for a dust collection hose adapter that fits your oddly sized port? Someone has already designed it. That's one of my go-to uses, dust collection. I printed custom magnetized connectors for my hoses, which keeps everything secure yet easy to move between machines. And yes, there are those magnets coming into play again. They pair so well with 3D printed parts that it's almost like they were meant to go together. Another favorite use? Shop organization. My print library has setups for clamp holders, French cleat brackets, and even custom mounts for oddly shaped tools. Now I know you can buy some of these solutions pre-made, but being able to custom fit them for my exact tools and the dimensions of my space is priceless.
It's funny how the simplest tools can change everything. Each of the 6 that we cover today, whether it's the L-fence, setup blocks, or even a 3D printer, serves a unique purpose, from boosting accuracy to solving those everyday frustrations we just accept as a part of woodworking. These aren't flashy tools, but they get the job done quietly and efficiently. The trick is finding where they fit into your process. Experiment, problem solve, and see how these hidden gems can make your work easier. Because at the end of the day, woodworking isn't just about the final project. It's about enjoying every step along the way. So until next time, make it so.